Warning: viewers' discretion is advised as this may contain mature or triggering content. Title: Loving Who, Part 8. Ever since they had left the neurologist's office, Amy's mom and Vince had been walking on eggshells. Why? She'd actually opened up about the dream. A part of her had been thinking about telling Vince all the dreams she'd been having. However, with this, she wasn't so sure she could. He always told her she could lean on him, count on him, and bother him. But it seemed the dream she had shared with them bothered him far more than he wanted to admit. She hadn't told them how or why she was stabbed, only that it happened. Why? Because she was too afraid to admit she was dreaming about other lives with men other than Vince, especially not wanting to admit anything about being together with Richard. Not after everything that happened. The mere thought sickened her. Even as they were seated in the steakhouse, no one spoke. The neurologist had talked about medication possibilities. He even told Amy if she wanted to try out melatonin she could, just to make sure Vince was awake and ready to keep an eye on her. Either that, or they set up a camera in order to catch recordings of her sleeping habits while trying out melatonin. Either way, it was looking like medication was going to be the fastest fix. Not that she really wanted to have to take something every single day just to sleep normally. A heavy sigh left Amy. Vince reached over, his hand hovering over hers for a moment before he finally rested it on top of hers, giving it a small squeeze. "We'll make it work, I promise." Amy felt like she was now some fragile child they had to be careful around. If she were honest, that hurt more than anything. She pulled her hand back. "I don't want to be babied. I've been dealing with all of this for some time now." "How long?" her mother whispered, and Amy froze. How could she tell them it had been happening since Tyler drunkenly kissed her? She hadn't even told her mom about that little accident. "I don't know," she lied, her throat tightening. She didn't want to lie, but right now, the idea of having summoned them to be with her felt like a bad call on her part. "I'm fine, really. We can get some melatonin. He suggested a few good brands. We'll get a camera set up on my side. It's fine." But it was the furthest thing from fine, and they both read her face like an open book. Their food arrived, and silence fell over them again. Only the occasional mutter about how great the food tasted could be heard from them. There were a few people that glanced their way. Clearly, things were not okay. One of the waitress had even come up to ask if everything was okay, asking if there was something wrong with the food. The three of them smiled, saying everything was great, but the tension was heavy, and Amy wanted to run away. It had been a long time since she had felt the urge to run from an issue. It had once been a bad habit of hers, one she thought she had outgrown. It seemed she was wrong. They ordered desserts, savoring the foods instead of making small talk. Amy was feeling better after getting food in her system, but she still felt like she could sleep for about 8 more hours. She fell asleep in the vehicle as Vince drove home. Her mom followed behind in Amy's car. She didn't even wake up when they arrived. But at least her sleep had been more peaceful. There were only a few times when she thrashed in the seat. Vince had reached over, giving her knee a gentle squeeze, softly whispering that everything was fine. It seemed to help, which he felt grateful for. There was a light tap on the window at his head, and he opened the door, stepping out to talk to Amy's mom. "Do you want me to stay the night?" she asked, glancing through the window at her daughter. Vince shook his head. "No, we'll be fine, and I'm sure you're exhausted. Use what's left of the daylight to get back to your place and rest. I'll be sure to update you if anything happens." Amy's mom let out a soft sigh. "Okay. Need me to do anything?" Vince almost said no before he held out the keys. "Could you open the door and hold it for me while I carry her in?" Amy's mom nodded before taking the keys and hurrying along the walkway to unlock the front door. Vince rounded the car, opening the door and gently lifting Amy's head up so he could unbuckle her seatbelt. Even with that, she didn't wake up. Her breathing remained slow and even. "All right, love," he murmured, sliding his hand behind her knees and the other behind her back. He was slow and deliberate with each move, feeling her almost instinctively relax against him as her head lulled into his shoulder. Her mom held the door open, stepping aside as he carried Amy inside. The house was dim, quiet, a kind of stillness that made every sound feel louder than it was. Vince lowered her onto the couch, adjusting the blanket draped over the back so it covered her. Her mom hovered for a moment, eyes softening at the sight of her daughter finally resting peacefully. "Text me when she wakes," she whispered. "I will," Vince promised. "Text me when you get home." She hesitated, then gently squeezed his arm. "I will." She gave her daughter one more glance before slipping out the door. The latch clicked softly behind her, leaving the house in a hush that felt both comforting and heavy. Vince exhaled, running a hand through his hair as he sat on the edge of the coffee table, watching Amy's chest rise and fall. The tension in his shoulders eased just a little, but his mind still raced, wondering how he was supposed to deal with all of this, and worst of all, was it going to get between the two of them? Was she going to keep lying about being fine when he knew she clearly wasn't? He hadn't pushed the subject before, but this was getting worse. He just didn't want her to get hurt anymore. He reached over, brushing some of the hair from her face. "I hope when you wake up you'll tell me what's really been going on in that head of yours," he whispered. To be continued. Yes, I know, I fell off the bandwagon again. But trust me, it wasn't for the lack of trying. These things take a while to record, edit, and then sync with the text, and now that I'm working again, chaos was destined to occur. Don't get me wrong, I actually love having a job. I know, kinda weird, that's me. But besides that, you'll notice that this is shorter than usual, and that is on purpose. I'm gonna switch back to trying to post 2 videos a month, and the extended story parts are going to be shorter. So hopefully I can stay on schedule. Plus, Instagram has that 20-minute limit, so shorter episodes means that I don't have to make a separate YouTube and Insta video. I'm currently in chapter 14 of Fighting Fate, Darkness of Gods Book 2, and I would like to publish it in May, but I have 8 chapters to go and, well, like 7 days. And then there's the editing, so realistically, if I do get it done, it'll be about mid to late May, maybe. That's if writer's block doesn't body slam me again like it has been throughout this entire book. Anyways, as always, if you haven't already, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!